This is a CLD V840, a LaserKaraoke unit by Pioneer. Unsurprisingly, this is a Laserdisc player. And not only that, it is also unsurprisingly one that focuses on karaoke. Now, while a Laserdisc karaoke machine may seem like an unusual thing to get, it's actually not that weird. Aside from the microphone inputs or the tone control or the chapter select buttons that let you select what track you want to sing to, they're actually pretty good Laserdisc players. Now, I don't mean that it's the ultimate Laserdisc player. It does only have composite output, not even S-video, and it doesn't have any form of surround output anywhere on the rear, although that's always really difficult to use with a Laserdisc player anyway, because you need a demodulator. But it does have one of the features that most people are trying to get, and that would be from this bulge. That bulge in the rear gives it the extra space it needs to be able to change sides of the disc. Now, in case you're not that familiar with Laserdiscs, I should probably let you know that unlike CDs, which almost all have a label on one side and data on the other, Laserdiscs have data on both sides and usually need to be flipped in the middle of a movie to continue watching. Sometimes you may get a Laserdisc release that has a longer movie or higher quality image, and it will have an extra disc that only has data on one side. But those are still double-sided discs, as the blank side usually has an image encoded onto it that tells you to flip the disc over. So you can imagine how having a Laserdisc player that can change sides for you is useful when you're watching a movie and don't want to have to get up in the middle of it. Aside from all that though, I will admit I did actually buy this because it's a karaoke player. It's just kind of weird to see all those buttons on the top and the mic controls and the tone controls, and it's really weird to be able to change the playback speed of the video and audio. So the LaserKaraoke players are just kind of cool in their own right. Despite its appearances, everything is not hunky-dory with this thing. I was trying to use it to listen to Fantasia, and it got to the end of the first disc, tried to change sides, and got stuck. Now, I haven't been able to get it to replicate it outside of my stereo equipment stack, and I think I know why. If we listen to the side change, at one point you can hear metal scraping against the side of the case. Yeah, that really doesn't sound good to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and open it up and take a look. We'll go ahead and move it back to side A, because that's the natural point for the transport, and you can again hear it scraping against the case. So, yeah, clearly something's wrong. Let's take a look at what's going on in there. Now, unfortunately, this is not my first time opening a Laserdisc player. I have several side-changing Laserdisc players that all have problems, and I haven't gotten around to trying to fix them because they're an absolute nightmare. As you can see as we open this up, there's only one playhead, and it has to run to the back of the unit and go all the way up to the top and then move forward. The rear area where it changes sides is usually brittle plastic and has started to fail over time. Alright, so way deep in here we can see the actual laser for the Laserdisc player sitting on its transport. Now, unfortunately, this unit has the much more complicated mechanism that I didn't know it had. I thought it had the usual one where there's tracks that run along the bottom that curve up into the top. That I was hoping I could 3D print something to repair. This, though, is a whole nother level of complicated. So the transport actually slides back, docks into this piece here, which then rotates. Then the transport is on the top and is able to slide out. So I really don't know what's going wrong here off the bat. Let's try putting a disc in and see what happens when it tries to change sides. Okay, so watching the side change closely, we can see that it actually changes side twice for some reason. It rotates once and then rotates back. And on that second rotation, it extends outside of the case. So the side changing mechanism is rubbing against the top of the case. That's just brilliantly designed, Pioneer. Thanks for that. Now, it's possible that something's failed on the mechanism. There could be a limit switch somewhere that's meant to prevent it from doing that. So let's explore a little bit deeper and see if we can find something suspect. Okay, well, I just discovered a new problem. Watch what it can do sometimes when you change from side A to B while it's playing. The head just touched the disc there. That's not good. Now, this disc isn't in the best of shape. This is a Japanese karaoke disc that came with the player, and it's possible the laser wasn't able to focus on it, so it didn't know when to stop. So it could just be the disc itself, but man, if that isn't going to make me weary of putting anything I actually like in this thing. So now there are two problems to try and solve. Okay, I've determined quite a few new weird things about this, and I think I may have an idea as to a solution that may fix both problems at once. So first off, I want to demonstrate what happens as I apply pressure while this is currently playing back. If I push on it, it pushes back against me, and when I release, it overshoots and then corrects. So there are motors constantly pushing this back and forth, trying to keep it balanced so that the laser is where it should be relative to this disc's surface as the disc wobbles. And that makes sense, but the laser itself also corrects up and down, so there's just multiple layers of correction here. Now, something else more interesting is visible when it stops. So go ahead and let it fully complete its little cycle here. Get it into the resting position. And there we go. Now, the whole carriage mechanism here is not motor controlled necessarily, but spring loaded. So it can move freely up and down. Now, this gives me an idea. So if I place a ruler across here over where the screw mechanism moves around and causes the problem, we can see that it clears it the first time, but then the whole mechanism raises, and the next time it hits it. So what would happen if this wasn't allowed to go as high? Well, if I clamp this in here and try and position this in just the right spot, then put the ruler in place and make it go back to side A, it works just fine without hitting the top of the case, or in this case, the ruler. So I'm thinking maybe there is a set screw somewhere that controls how far up this mechanism can move, and it has come loose over time and it's going too high up. Because if I can fix it by just clamping something in the back, then there's not something wrong, I think. So it's time to dig deeper and see if I can find that set screw. Okay, so here's one thing it's not. Way in the back here, if we take out this giant, I'm guessing Delrin block, we can see there's a small catch down here where the tray moves up and down, but that's not actually what's causing the final stop. As you can see, I can pull it up just a tiny bit more. So it's not that, which is unfortunate because that was comparatively easy to get to. So, yep, gotta keep looking. Okay, so this plastic area here is actually what's responsible for moving the entire mechanism up and down. This white piece slides left and right with these gears over here as the tray moves in and out, and it moves this one black piece just ever so slightly up or down this incline to raise or lower the entire carrier. Now, this lowest point does seem to be the problem, and it is too low. But I can't find any way of adjusting the height of this white piece. I mean, this metal tab here, for one, it's all the way up against that. Maybe there's some screws, but I really don't think that's what it is. So, I'm not really sure why that is happening. So I'm kind of at the point where I don't know what I need to do to fix the machine as it should be, but I do have a remedy. I'm thinking I could just put some padding on this piece in the rear, kind of like I've done here with the blue tape, although more, because that didn't work. And this would effectively make the minimum position on the wedge piece towards the front of the carriage just not as low. So it's not a problem. This wouldn't change anything else. It would just not allow this whole unit to go up as much. And I think that would be fine and fix the problem. So I'm going to try adding some more padding to this and see how it goes. Well, that wasn't enough, so I guess I'll just 3D print something that'll fit better. Alright, so here we have the 3D printed extension piece. And this just slides right on there to significantly extend the lip that catches the carriage holder. So, yeah, let's go try and put this in. This was supposed to be a really quick and easy repair, and let me tell you, it's been pretty much anything but that with how much of a hassle it's been getting this thing figured out. So, I'm really happy to be close to done here. Alright, I'm going to continue on with the ruler test, and you can see just how close to the ruler this stupid thing gets. Okay, the first one always fails. Whew. Yeah, it's working. So, I'd say success. Well, I think that is all better, and I will freely admit that this does not feel like the right way to fix this. But, I mean, it works, so I don't know. I think I'm just going to go with it. Well, alright, I would call that a successful repair. There isn't too much to look at as far as this being a Laserdisc player, or more specifically a karaoke player. We can switch it over into karaoke mode, and then we can do some weird things, like we can change the key of the music playing, which basically changes the playback speed. We can add some echo and stuff. There's a couple little things, not too terribly much. So, yeah. Annoyingly, while you do have all of these wonderful chapter select buttons up here, there is no next or previous, because they really only expect you to put the disc in, pick the song you want off of it, and play just that. So you're not really meant to watch through like a whole movie or skip chapters through it. So it's kind of really not what it's meant for, but it still works. If you need to skip to a chapter in a movie and you try and press one of these buttons, you will be in for a surprise, because it will only play that chapter and then it will stop. So yeah, if you're gonna watch a movie on this, you just have to put the disc in, hit play, and then just watch it all in one go, because you can't jump to a chapter. So yep, I would call this a successful repair. It no longer makes horrible metal grinding noises when you switch sides, and yeah, so I think we're done here. I'll see you next time.